Well, we're back and we are going to try something new, something I have never done before, and that is sow some really early sweet peas. Try and keep them going all the way over the winter, make them nice and hardy, ready to get them out super early next year and get some really early blooms. Now, there's a lot more to it than just that. There's going to be a few caveats and I'm going to take you through. We'll get set up over there and I'll talk you all about how I'm going to sow them, what the very particular type of sweet peas I'm going to be doing are and why we sow that particular one, because there's a little bit of a story behind it. But you know, the temperatures are dropping. Don't be fooled by the rather sunny sky. It is quite nice in the greenhouse at the moment. We're probably just in the low double digits, but temperatures overnight round here, especially over this weekend, we are really low down. We're sort of 2-3 degrees. We've not had the first frost yet, and what are we? I'm filming this 23rd of October. You know, temperatures are dipping quite a bit, and we've got the little red robin tomato plants that are just sort of that clinging on for dear life here at the greenhouse as we get into those colder temperatures. But we will come to that one as well. So alas, let me get set up over here in the sort of potting area that we do. We'll have a good old natter about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, why it might work, and why it very well might not work. Right, so we've got the old dual camera set up here, and it's the first time I think I've used the dual camera since I've sort of had a bit of a switch around in how the greenhouse is set up, so I've been fiddling about with the angle, so hopefully it is all right. The other thing to mention is I still haven't fixed this auto vent up here, so every time I've got a new thing, every time I bang my head on it when I'm filming, I've got to put a pound in the box until I actually fix it. But enough of that. Let's get on with doing some sweet peas. Now, I am using a deep root trainer here, and this is one that we got from Container Wise, I think it is. And it is good. It's all right. I find it, the only thing I find about it, so you should get the two different types of deep root trainer, and you can see this is just a solid plastic one that sort of sells its one solid thing. And if I can find any, have I got any in the greenhouse? There might be I've got a thing out there that I store all my pots and stuff in usually. And that's where I've got the other ones. But you can get the other deep root trainers where you split them open and you can take the little plant side of it, which is generally a little bit easier. So there's pros and cons to them both, I guess, for doing it in the different types. They're generally not as robust, those ones, and they will gradually, the plastic will degrade a lot quicker and they'll start to split and fall apart, but they do come with the benefit of being just a little bit easier to use. But I am using deep root trainer, whichever type of deep root trainer you've got, then by all means use it. I say the pros and cons to each, and I'm just using general purpose fertilizer that I use for all of them, and some of the cells just need topped up a little bit, especially the ones at the back there that are just a bit shallow. And it's whatever's on offer. Usually for seed sowing, I've been through the mill, I've tried all the different fancy types of specific sort of seed sown compost and that I mean, you get out the bag, it's got a lovely fluffy texture to it. But I just run this through a sieve. Chuck a bit of perlite in. The grocer, Westland grocer it is that I use, it's normally on offer from B&M. Run it through a sieve, take all the lumps and bumps out. The lumps and bumps go into my own sort of compost pile itself to break down, and I'm left with the perfect stuff for sowing seeds in it. Probably half the price of what the specific sort of seed sowing is, seed sowing compost. Anyway, sweet peas. Let me show you these here. Hopefully I'll try and get them on both cameras so I don't mess up and you can see them there. But these are very, very specific ones, and they're from a company called Eagle Sweet Peas. Full disclaimer, I have nothing to do with Eagle Sweet Peas. I have no affiliation to them. They pay me no money, absolutely nothing in these videos. They just have blooming good sweet pea seeds. Now, a little thing to add to that, I saw some really nice ones at DT Brown, so I might buy some of the DT Brown ones. But for these ones that I'm using here, and the DT brown ones that I've seen that I'll probably do next year. I'll put a link in the description down below. Go and have a look. Like I say, I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get any money, nothing like that. It's just my recommendation. And the Eagle Sweet Pea ones, these ones here, this is something called the Chelsea collection. Now, I grow the Chelsea collection because those of you who've been watching YouTube videos for a while, I remember Steve from Green Side Up, and it was Steve who first inspired me to do sweet peas, and the Chelsea collection from Eagle Sweet Peas was always the one that he did, so I always like growing them. And full disclaimer, the Chelsea collection that you get, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 different varieties in, is £16 for the full lot. And this is the third year I'm using the same sort of pack collection that I bought. So I've spent £16, my third year. Judging by how many seeds are left in the packet, this will probably be the last year for these. I'll have to buy some more. And they're coming. What I like about them as well is on the packets, it's got the name, it's got a bit of information about them, but it's got the colour. So there's a particular colour that you like. You want to grow more of one colour, like this one here that's called Our Harry. It's a mid-blue. So if you like mid-blue, you can grow a load of mid-blue ones. But yeah, a bit of a shout out to Eagle Sweet Peas, because I've had great success with these. So I've done these for the last 2 years, and I have never ever seen so many sweet peas. And these ones here, the Chelsea collection, are more of the sort of big, blousy sort of sweet peas. You can get some very small, very petite, nice looking sort of ones, but these are quite sort of in your face sort of sweet peas, and they're good, they're big. And I do have another video on the channel, and again I'll stick it in the description down below, that talks a little bit about whether to pinch out your sweet peas or not. Just while I'm doing that, I'm so proud of myself. You know, I'm always so proud of myself when I write out my labels, and I've got my labels pre-written in order of the seeds in there, but I'm just going to pop it in just so I remember which row on the cell tray has got which ones in. So remember that they're Our Harry in the first one. But yeah, these are great. I mean, whether you pinch them out, whether you don't pinch them out, is up to you. Whether you take the tendrils off, whether you don't take the tendrils off, is up to you. But to say, it's for later in the season. Once they're grown, once they're doing that, then you kind of make that decision whether you're going to do that or not. But I'll stick a link to the video there. You can have a look at it, and it's entirely up to whatever people's personal preferences are as to what they do. I'm not one of these people. I would never say pinching them out is the right way to do it, not pinching them out is the wrong way to do it, that sort of stuff. It's just whatever you want, whatever you fancy. You know, last year when I did them, some of them I pinched out, some of them I didn't pinch out, and it was great to see it all mixed up, see all the different types. When the ones that you pinch out generally get a bit bigger, a bit even more blousier than the sort of the Chelsea collection already are. But it's just a bit of good fun. And speaking of things that are a bit of good fun, this is kind of what this is for me. So generally, the rule of thumb is, if you're growing sweet peas, or sowing sweet peas, I should say, at this time of year, generally you should be in the Midlands to the south of the UK, or some sort of similar climate if you're in a different part of the world. Up here in Scotland or the north of England, I probably shouldn't be doing this till January. And speaking of our dearly departed friend Steve, I know I said he's the one who inspired me to start doing sweet peas and growing sweet peas, and I'll be forever grateful for that. And I can hear him right now giving me a lecture on why I shouldn't be sowing things this early. I shouldn't be doing it. I should be being patient, and I should be waiting till January at the earliest to get these on the go and get them sown. But that's okay. And I mean, I fully respect people who just sort of wait for the right time of year and do it as it should be done. But you know what? everybody's different. We've all got our own way of doing things and trying things. And if you've watched some of my other videos on the channel, if you've been around for a wee while, you'll know that sometimes, especially on the early potato front, I like to have a bit of fun. And that's what it is. It's a bit of fun. I like to have a little bit of fun of just sort of trying to push the boundaries of how early I can get something to grow, something on the go, especially up here in Scotland, just seeing if I can push it. And you know what? It might work out. Oh, there's another pound in the box. It might work out. It might be brilliant, and it might be just the job. We might get some really early sweet peas up here in Scotland, and I will be chuffed to bits. Equally, and possibly the more likely outcome is we won't. They will die. So sweet peas are actually quite hardy. They'll do you down to around about -5, -6 before they sort of start to get really damaged by the frost. And I think up here, you know, we do go down to minus double digits. Sometimes, not all the time. It is quite a rarity that we'd go that far down. I mean, we do go down -7, -8, sort of quite a lot. The greenhouse is unheated, and it's only going to be a degree or two warmer than it is outside. So not any, you know, huge difference in temperature between these being outside and being in the greenhouse. So it is a gamble. Obviously, Midlands towards down south, it's a lot milder, a lot easier for you to get away with things like this instead of me up here, up north. But you know what? Isn't this what it's about? Like the sort of garden and that. It's just enjoying it for what it is. I mean, I love pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits, trying things early. And if they die, if I lose them, if they die, so be it. You know what? I'll reuse the compost for something else. I'll reuse the little plants, you know, that die off. They'll get chucked in the compost. It's not the end of the blooming world, is it? It's just something I like to do and I like to try. And that's the thing, we're all different. We all like to do different things. I might inspire some of you out there, you never know, to jump on the early bandwagon and try and get some stuff out there. And excuse me if I'm wobbling the little camera here. You know, give it a try. You've nothing to lose. Like I say, I spent £16 on that entire collection of seeds. Like, you know, and I've used them for the last 2 years. They don't owe me anything. I've used a bit of compost here. And if the plants don't grow, I can reuse the compost for something else. You know, I'll chuck it in a bed to top it up. Or whatever, I'll find something to do. You know, it's not going to break the bank doing that. We're not going to worry. And more importantly, I'm going to enjoy it. You know, it's my hobby. It's my thing. I enjoy doing it. I like giving it a bit of the sort of early push to see what we can do. So it might work, it might not. I am certainly not going to be losing any sleep over it. That's for sure. So we just topped the compost up then. Just a couple of other things to mention on the sort of growing sweet pea front there. Some people soak sweet pea seeds before you sow them. Don't do that. Please don't do that. The likelihood is you will reduce the number of seeds that germinate if you do that. And that comes from I was doing a bit of reading before this. Was that the National Sweet Pea Society or whatever they were called, I think. And I mean, if they don't know, if they don't have the best advice, then I don't know who does. So please don't be tempted to soak your sweet peas before sowing them. Just stick them in and off you go. The other thing is, once I have got these, and you might be able to see a teenager making his way towards the greenhouse out here, so there might be a little bit of a funny cut in the video, and I'll come back to you in just a second. So we're back, and the lesser spotted teenager has made his way back into the house there. He had some important news to tell me about his PlayStation, which, you know, I'm okay with, because for him, that's important to him, just as important as me sowing these sweet pea seeds are to me. We've all got our thing, don't we? We all have our hobbies, we all have our things, and, you know, it's exciting to tell other people about them and what we're doing. So yeah, there was a couple of things as I mentioned there. One is, please don't soak your sweet pea seeds before you sow them. The other thing is, I am gonna, if I don't fall over when doing that, I've got some water. I'm gonna water them. This water, these bottles, I fill them up and I leave them in the house. So it's not like freezing cold. It sort of gets ambient temperature, room temperature water. And I'm gonna water them now, the sweet peas, and they're gonna get a decent-ish kind of soaking. But this is the only time I'm going to water them until they have germinated, right? Once they've germinated, and not like once they just appear, I'm not going to go gushing the water on again straight away. But once they've got a good signs of germination about them, we'll give them another drink. And the other thing to mention is for them to germinate, so sweet pea seeds, you're probably looking 15 to 18 degrees centigrade for them to germinate. Now, this compost has been out here in the greenhouse overnight, so the compost itself is cold. So I'm probably going to bring this tray inside the house, and it'll sit inside the house. And I'm not going to put it next to a radiator. I'm not going to put it in an airing cupboard, nothing like that. It's just going to sit in the house. And again, the ambient temperature is just going to be enough to get them to germinate. Now, I could take another bit of a gamble and leave them out here in the unheated greenhouse. They might germinate, they might not. But one thing I am going to do is, as soon as I do see signs of germination, watering aside, they'll be getting moved straight back out here. So as soon as I see them germinating, they're coming out here to the unheated greenhouse, or they're going to get big, long, straggly, leggy very, very quickly, especially at this time of year when there's not as much light. And if the heating's on in the house, they're just going to go and it'll be a mess and it'll be a waste. Even if you manage to kill them off throughout the winter, I don't want it to be a waste. I mean, it's sort of my fault. I'd rather it was Mother Nature that did it than it be my fault inside the house through leaving them in there too long. But what I will do is, once I've given them a bit of a water, I'll probably just leave them in this tray in here inside the greenhouse. We'll leave it in here for about an hour just to make sure any excess water's just run off out the hose at the bottom. Bring them in the house. 7, 10, 14 days for germination. You know, it's not an exact science as to how long these things take. We'll see. We'll see how they go. So, it's quick and as easy as that for something that I think is a bit of fun, and it might turn out to be really good. Here are our sweet peas. Now, you can see the deep root trainers perhaps a little bit better. You can see how deep they are. And what I would say is, don't underestimate just how much compost it takes to fill one of these deep root trainers compared to, say, one of the normal cell trays. So if I just I use these ones quite a lot. These sort of, again, the container wise, these are the Hugh Richards ones that he designed. I really, really like these ones actually. But you can see how shallow they are compared to the deep root trainers. So the deep root trainers take a lot of compost. And it is an uncanny, I think I've said this before, it's an uncanny coincidence that these container-wise ones have exactly the right amount of rows, you can see there, for the number of varieties that you get in the Chelsea collection. So it's a bit like a match made in heaven there, isn't it? Those ones there, you know, maybe somebody's watching down on us on that one. But anyway, that's my plan for the sweet peas. I will keep you updated as to how they go, when they germinate. I'll show you them and you can see how long they've taken. Like I say, it's the 23rd of October today when we're doing this. So as soon as they've germinated and I bring them back out here, I'll show you probably one of the other videos about something else that's going on. I'll just give you a bit of an update as to how they're doing, what percentage of germination we've got. And generally, again, another reason to use the sort of specialist sweet peas from Eagle Sweet Peas is the germination. The percentage of them that germinate is normally absolutely tremendous. I mean, I said before, I mentioned once before, I've seen some beautiful looking ones on sale at DT Brown. Never tried them, never used them, couldn't say what the germination rates are like. Probably pretty decent as well, but we'll give them a try. So yeah, bit of a gamble. Midlands down south, crack on, get your sweet peas on the go. Anywhere north, you know, North England, up into Scotland, if you're feeling brave like me, give it a shot, give it a try. It's a bit of winter interest, it's a bit of fun. Grow along, try it out, try and get them on the go in October, try and get them on the go before the end of the month, and we'll see just what we can achieve with a bit of playing about, a bit of gambling. But who knows, if you don't try, you'll never find out, will you? Anyway, that is me done for today. I've got loads of stuff planned, by the way. I've got loads of videos. I know we're into end of October, into November, when normally gardening stuff gets a bit quiet. But I've got, honestly, I was thinking about the list of videos I've got to do. I've got millions of stuff planned. There's so many videos to do. And that's before we even get on with moving from plot number 1 to plot number 2. So there's loads of content coming, loads of stuff coming. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Anyway, that's genuinely me done this time. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.